Hey everyone, it is Tanya. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I'm back with another speed build and another installment of the Squish, which is what we affectionately call tiny homes here on the channel. And this is actually part of a series I'm doing where I'm creating tiny homes based on all 10 generations of the Very Veggie Legacy challenge by Lil Simsy or Kayla. And today we are on generation 2, which is Eggplant. Just based on the description of this one, I think this might be my favorite, but I will have a link down below to the entire Legacy Challenge rules so you can see every generation and all of the information, but I will talk a little bit about what is involved in the Eggplant generation so I can explain the process of coming up with this build.
I also wanted to let you know that I still have a creator code with EA, so if you're buying any Sims packs on the EA app, you can enter my code Gryphi at checkout to support me as a creator. Thank you so much for considering, and thanks to EA for sponsoring this portion of the video.
Everyone won't shut up about romance. All day, every day, you have to listen to weird, suggestive eggplant jokes, people complaining about their partners, or even worse, them going on and on about their happy little relationships. You're sick of it. Love is dead and you're gonna prove it. You decide your life goal is to ruin as many relationships as possible. Well, at least when you're off the clock. You can't exactly quit your day job. Relationship saver by day, relationship ruiner by night. The color theme here is purple. Your traits are evil, romantic, and bro. Your aspiration is a villainous Valentine, but your career is that you're a romance consultant. I think that's just really funny. But you're also going to be wearing an eggplant costume for every single outfit, growing giant eggplants in your front yard, becoming a nectar connoisseur and maintaining a nectar cellar, and maxing the romance, fitness, nectar making, and dancing skills. So you have a lot going on, and I tried to pack as much of that as possible into this tiny house, as I was kind of imagining in the series that the homes that I'm building are your first or second home for each generation. So I wanted it to be under 100 tiles so you'd get some perks for living in a tiny home. So that is the general idea. They might be different sizes each generation, but generally I think I'm going to try and keep them pretty small. But talking about this build, can I just say there is so little purple in The Sims 4. I've said it before because I have a color drenched series I do as well where I make apartments inspired by a single color, and there's just not a lot of purple in this game. So it was really hard to figure out how I wanted to make this. I decided to use some of the windows and a couple of other items, I think, from my wedding stories because there is some really pretty like pastel purple swatches on the shutters. I also ended up using this really pretty like floral vine from Jungle Adventure and a roof pattern from that pack as well. And the general idea I had for this build was to make it feel kind of cozy and romantic, since the Sim is technically a romantic, but they want to ruin relationships. So I wanted to be a space that your Sims could bring other people to ruin relationships. So like have them cheat on their spouse with you. So there's a few different woohoo locations. The first one I placed down pretty early with the hot tub outside. There ends up being one of the woohoo blankets from Love Struck as well. And then your basic ones like the bed and the shower. But I just really wanted it to feel like a nice spot you could bring back a Sim to be a romance ruiner. Or maybe if you're taking house calls for your romance consultant career, it also looks nice for that. And of course I had to tie in a lot of the other interests they had. So there is like a garden out front for your eggplants. I have a dance floor. I have a nectar making like station that came with horse ranch. There is no nectar cellar in this build though, but that's just because it's a really small build, and I figured that's something you could work up to as you progress that skill. So the shape has pretty much come together now. I'm just playing around with swatches because I wasn't really sure if I wanted the door to be white or brown. I also changed the fence to a brown on top, and I'm playing around with our front door. This one is from Love Struck. I'm pretty sure I keep that in the end, and it takes me a really long time on the interior to remember I need to put a platform there so you can step down into the rest of the house, but we will get there. For right now, I am adding in a half wall that I originally had over here to hold in some flowers or bushes to add just a little bit more decoration, but I am making sure to not complete it properly so it doesn't count as tiles. So I'm going to be drawing the half wall separately and then placing it down so that doesn't count as a room and doesn't make us go over 100 tile count. And then these are the bushes that I placed in. These are just some base game ones. And I just thought it looked really nice to kind of close in that hot tub area. And then I'm working on the landscaping on this lot, getting a lot of trees from Get Together because I am building this on the island in Windenburg on the mid-nowhere lot. It's one of my favorite lots. I think it is so beautiful out here. And I really felt like this build could go anywhere. I kind of wanted to put it in the world of Ciudad Enamorada from Lovestruck, but it didn't really feel like there was a good lot there for a tiny house. So I ended up going here instead, and I just thought it was a really beautiful, like sort of romantic location. So I thought that that worked quite nicely, and a lot of my landscaping here, as you can see, is purple. I have purple roses. I have this really pretty purple low-lying plant that is from Debug, I believe from high school years. I might be wrong on that. And then this is the nectar making station. I ended up putting it up on the balcony because it was the best place to fit it. And then I am grabbing some of these planters so you can grow those oversized crops, particularly probably going to want to focus on the eggplants. I end up going in debug and getting some to place down so that they are already growing, but I also get some that have been harvested and size them up and place them out there because I just thought it was a fun idea to have some of these giant eggplants sitting out here like they are ready to be harvested. I really love the oversized crops that came with cottage living. I don't know if I've ever actually had my Sims grow eggplants though. I feel like I usually go for pumpkins, but that's probably because of my love of Halloween and autumn. So there's that. But anyway, I did grab a bike here in a purple swatch and some of these decorative free weights that we got from Lovestruck because they came in a purple color and the Sim is supposed to be pretty athletic as they need to, I believe, master the fitness skill. So I thought a bike would be a nice addition. There also ends up being a treadmill in this house and a punching bag. There's a dance floor for them to work on their dance skill. And most of that stuff is going to be upstairs as I have the primary living area and the bedroom on the bottom floor. And then upstairs is sort of like just a lofted skill building room. And I am placing down actually a dance floor. I think that came with the Party Essentials kit. It looks like there's nothing on the floor. There's just an outline. It's one that doesn't make it look different, but it acts as a dance floor. So that way you don't have to have a pre-established style of one of the dance floors in the game. And I just think it looks a little bit better that way. So that's what I decided to do. But we are working on the kitchen now, which is tucked under the staircase, and I don't actually end up keeping these purple counters. I just thought that they were a little bit too much and not the right style, and I wanted there to be a heavy emphasis on the color purple, but I thought it was okay if not everything was purple. So I am actually going to be changing them out for some countertops from Jungle Adventure instead, but I get a really nice purple wallpaper back here, which I'm going to play around with. I'm pretty sure I ended up keeping the snakeskin one from Lovestruck in the end. I just thought it was really fun. And I used the purple flowers from that pack as a backsplash in the bedroom as well. But here are those counters I had mentioned. I think they look really nice here. They blend in beautifully with the floor, and they feel like they almost have a purple undertone to me. I've always thought that about these cabinets. I think they look so nice with this wood tone, or that purple looks so nice with this wood tone. I also grabbed a little bath mat to put in front of the sink so you can stand on that while doing dishes. I got the VIP bucket for a little bit of a romantic bubbly, and then a couple of cutting boards as well, as I like to add those in my kitchens. I also grabbed some of these bottles of nectar since the Sim is very into nectar making. And then we're working on the living room where I kept this couch I placed down to begin with because it has the exact wood tone and purple color I was going for. That couch itself is from Seasons, and I think it is so beautiful. I believe that's where those curtains are from as well, and I use those throughout the build, and the bed I use in the bedroom is also from Seasons. But here's that platform I was mentioning, and I ended up actually having sort of like a TV unit made out of these modular pieces that is part on the platform, part not. And I thought this was kind of a cool way to achieve fitting a TV in this space. I really liked it, and it acts as sort of a entryway place to throw everything as well. So I do end up having the shoes in here, and then I grabbed this wine painting that I thought was really pretty. I thought it fit nicely for the Sim who makes their own. And then I actually swapped some of the decor from the table to this end table or entryway table, and then just grabbing all of our temperature controls and all of that and adding another window over here above the table. This generation just sounds like so much fun to play with. I can just imagine bringing back a Sim here and hanging out in this space, trying to romance somebody or give them advice on their romantic relationships, but also hating romance and trying to woo them to ruin their relationships, growing your eggplants, working on your dance skill, being super athletic, and making your own nectar. It's just like an interesting combination, and I really enjoy that about doing builds based on legacy challenges. I think it's so fun to try and combine all of those ideas into a build that I normally wouldn't put together. And I know that's kind of the point of this challenge, very much like the Not So Berry challenge. It's like getting aspects of the game you either don't play, don't do very often, or never combine, and kind of throwing them all together and making a storyline out of it. So these are so much fun for me to do. And if you haven't already seen it, I did do an entire series of making tiny houses for the Not So Berry challenge. So I will have a link in the description if you'd like to check that out. And I also made a playlist for this series as we go on. So you'll be able to check out all of the other tiny houses for Very Veggie. Anyway, Anyway, the bedroom has pretty much come together now. I kept it fairly simple in here. There is just the bed, a couple of bedside tables made out of those modular pieces, and then I have a wardrobe from the horse ranch pack. And then we're heading on upstairs. I'm going to be changing the floor to be sort of like a foam tile that you see in a lot of gyms. I thought that that worked really nicely up here. And then you can see the treadmill, the punching bag, and I also got some more of these free weights, as well as a space to store some of your nectar for any of the nectar you make out on the front balcony. I also added an additional table outside so that your Sims could dine out there if they would like to. And then I'm changing the door up here and painting some of the roof pieces and working on terrain paint and additional landscaping just to make this area blend into its surroundings a little bit more, since it is plopped in the middle of an island. Still wanted to use a lot of those purple flowers, but I just wanted it to feel a little bit more overgrown, and I got some more of this beautiful floral on the front of the build. I love this stuff, and for the longest time I never used it because I found it kind of difficult to use and not look silly, but I've used it more recently and I really enjoy it. Anyway, just grabbing some more of these low-lying purple flowers, some of the roses, and some lavender, and then we're getting a little pathway to lead out from the deck. And I rotate these ever so slightly. These are actually just some rugs from Get Together. I almost said Growing Together, but they're from Get Together, and I thought that they worked nicely as stepping stones. But that is pretty much it for this build. I really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more, and click that bell to be notified when I upload. And thank you to all of my YouTube members for all of your support. If you'd like to become a member yourself, you can click the join button below the video or the link in the description. Enjoy the screenshots, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye, everyone.